25 years ago, Rwanda was shattered by a tragedy that left its future obscure. Following liberation by the Rwandan Patriotic Front, the country has found its feet and its progress is evident. However, the battle for prosperity and self-reliance is far from over. Welcome to this episode of Doing Business in Rwanda, which is going to look at the country's recovery as well as the tasks ahead. My name is Stephen Muvunyi.
Rwanda nibazagaruka ariko batuye imitima tugutuye.
1994 was a horrible year for Rwanda as it left over 1 million people killed in the genocide perpetrated against the Tutsi. The tragedy could have claimed more victims had the Rwandan Patriotic Front not stopped it. Its victory over the genocidal regime was this year celebrated for the 25th time. President Paul Kagame took the opportunity to reassure Rwandans that the dreadful past the country went through won't happen again.
For decades and decades, Rwandans were treated as objects to be used and discarded by anyone, especially the powerful. It won't be anymore. Liberation was not about restoring the past, but creating something fundamentally new and better for all Rwandans. This fight was necessary and indeed unavoidable. If there will ever be necessity for more fights, we will be there.
It's common knowledge that security is the pillar of development. Thanks to the men and women right behind me, Rwanda is now the second safest country in Africa, according to the Gallup Global Law and Order report.
Our army and those others who supported it lived and others died for our country. Those still alive continue to serve it with steadfast devotion. We thank you.
For the survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, the Liberation Day is an opportunity to remember the bravery of the army that saved their lives.
Today, 25 years, we are celebrating the Kwibohora, which means now we are rescued. Rwanda is now on board. We are living a normal life, and also we do appreciate the initiative taken by the Rwandan young children of Rwanda who were refugees outside the country for a while, who took a decision to invade Rwanda and to rescue this country.
Rwanda's economy has been growing at a fast pace, leading to substantial reduction of foreign aid. The country is on the move, as evidenced by huge investment in various sectors.
The country was really in shambles, I may say. The economy has been dominated largely by agriculture and dependent so much at the tune of 90% on donor support, so that the national budget was supported at the rate of 90%. Today, if you are looking at it, today the direct donor support is about 17%. So that means we are able to cover all the way to almost 85%. The other one is the measure of the GDP and the income per capita. during this whole period. So if you look at where we are today, from that time it was about 350 in 94. Today we are closing in on 800. So basically we are on our way to achieving our 2020 vision of 900 per capita income. So basically coming from poor, rest of the poorest countries to lower middle income in a period like that is a very ambitious agenda.
When I first came, first of all, no traffic jam, like I say, very quiet, and not much going on. So I was like, it's a nice country, beautiful weather and beautiful people. Then I left. Then I start also coming from time to time, maybe once a year. But then I feel like, there's some changes. You know, it's very unusual for an African country that could really move that fast. So and then and I keep on coming back, and then 2009, I decided to start my investment here because I could see if Rwanda followed that pace of development 10 years later, it could be something very good.
Rwanda's economic growth averaged 8% between 2001 and 2015. President Kagame acknowledged the efforts that Rwandans have put in place to achieve that and called on them to keep up contribution to the nation's growth.
All the energy that our people give every day to transforming the nation, as we have seen in the past 25 years. As a result, the seemingly impossible has become manageable and even natural. It is the responsibility of every Rwandan to extend the gains we have made.
Rwanda's tremendous achievements in the last 25 years shouldn't be a reason for complacency as the harder and longer journey remains. It's especially up to the youth to take the mantle and pursue the work.
I believe the responsibility actually lies with us, the young people. There's a lot that has been done to get us to where we are, so there's now a responsibility on us to make sure we are taking what's been done and creating even more with it. So what I would like to see is to have more African success stories in business, in technologies. I would like to see more African and Rwandan companies launch and even provide products that cater not just for our markets but that are scaling beyond our borders. And for that, I think there's a lot that we have to do and a lot of responsibility that lies with us. The government will, can support that, but when it comes to actually doing it, that will have to come from us, and we will have to have the will and the grit and the vision to see that through.
The history, Rwanda is not the paradise. If we relax and say that we are liberated, we are celebrating liberation, so the struggle continues. We have to build on the accomplished ones to have the continuation of, we have challenges. We are landlocked. The challenge now, the struggle has changed. We're not fighting with others, but we have to fight for the economy, building the peace, or the integration also. And there is a new generation present who has not passed through this history, and then they have to know the history, but also to build more and focus on the future of this country.
For the country to develop, the youth must take center stage because they are more energetic. I think it's important to teach them history and make sure they have clear understanding of its past as well as a vision of where it's heading. That way, they will play a significant role in the country's development.
Developing our country requires us to put in more effort, embrace unity, and know that stability is the backbone of our country's progress. The young generation in Rwanda is optimistic about the future of the country thanks to reconciliation efforts that have instilled unity among the people.
I believe the conditions that led to that tragedy have been changed. They don't exist anymore. In terms of we are united as one people, we've undergone reconciliation, and of course it's always a journey, but the right steps were taken for us to get where we are today, and the right foundations have been built around creating a unified people. Now, because of that, there's no opportunity to go back to where we are today. In fact, I think the challenge that we face now becomes about tackling poverty. It becomes about how do we create jobs, how do we create economic progress, because you now get more issues that you're dealing with once you have a strong nation and once you have a nation that you've built. Now there's other challenges that we face like many developing countries, and so now that so for the next journey for me, I think it's how do we tackle the poverty issue, how do we tackle development, how do we become a middle income country and beyond, and how do we really put Africa on the map, because that's the problem that we're facing today. That's what we need to tackle, and as young people, that's what we need to focus on. How do we address that, and how we are the people who are going to drive that agenda.
And that's all on today's episode of Doing Business in Rwanda. Remember, you can interact with us on email at dbirwa@abn360.com, on Twitter at dbirwanda, or myself at Steven Muvunyi. Thanks for watching.